I don't have anything. I mean, I
Got a lot, but the opening question is pressure. I will ask you about your running back situation.
Yeah.
Is this the trend in college football to go with several guys, and how does it play for you guys?
You know, I don't know that. I know I believe in this league. It's such a big league, a physical league that you're probably not going to. A lot of teams don't have a feature back. They'll do it kind of by committee. Obviously, if you have one that's that much better than somebody else, you're going to get him, 8-10 carries more a game than the next guy. But kind of where we feel like we're at is that we have 3 guys that, 4 when Dominique gets back, that we feel like we can have success with. Obviously, you have a depth chart for a reason, with Rocket being number 1 on that. But we just try to keep him fresh and but if Rocket's fresh, he's going to get the majority of the carries.
following up on that. What's the latest on Dominique?
Nate, when do you expect him back? And B, do you recruit to that? Like, hey, we're going to have a running back by committee thing, and you're not going to have as much wear and tear on your body.
Yeah, I think anytime that you have the situation that we have, where we're playing several, you have to find in recruiting the positive about that. And certainly ours is that, if you're good enough and to help us win and get drafted and things of that nature, that the wear and tear on your body wouldn't be quite as significant if you're carrying the ball 25 times a game. So, yeah, I mean, to answer that, you asked me something else. Dominique, we had to talk about that this morning in our staff meeting with Dave. I feel like he'll be able to do some things. Maybe not the first week as far as team-oriented type things, but he's progressing well. He's ahead of schedule. And so I don't know if we'll have him for the Cincinnati game or not, but I feel like we're going to have him majority of the season.
Coach, on the Malik Hornsby at wide receiver, if KJ's the quarterback, how much time do you see Malik playing wide receiver?
Well, I'll tell you this, we are formatting our practice so Malik can do both. In the past, we've gone ones and freshmen and then 2s and 3s on the opposite field. But this year we're going to go 1s and 2s, and that way we can keep Malik on that field so we can practice him at wide receiver. I'll just say this. I've told him that we need him on the field. Now, he has to earn the right to get on the field, but we need him on the field. I think he's an excellent football player. So we are going to obviously give him – there's a fine line, give him an opportunity to win the job, but at the same time, give him an opportunity to win the wide receiver spot too. So we've got a plan for it. I hope it works. We feel like it will.
Do make him more of a wide receiver than a quarterback. Is he still your backup quarterback, or does Fortin probably move into that?
What afforded us to do this in the first place was Cade Fortin. I think we all have a lot of confidence in him. And so that kind of afforded us, and if you don't have a 3 that's ready, then you better not move your number 2 quarterback out to wide receiver. But with Fortin and how he came on this spring, we felt like we were able to do it. And as soon as, honestly, the first time Fortin took us down in a 2-minute situation, after that day is when we really started thinking about Malik playing wide receiver at that point.
Coach, just keeping along the injury line, I guess, how is Renfro, how's he progressing, Torian Carter, and anybody else expected to miss any time?
TC will be in camp. He'll be in camp, but that doesn't mean, Trey, that he's going to be active in camp. But we felt like it was important that he come into camp, be a part of the team, be a part of the meetings, be a part of practice. Not that he's going to be able to practice yet, but we felt like that was important. Renfro hadn't been cleared yet to practice, so he's going to be he'll be in the training room getting healthy and those things. Now he can throw, just can't do anything team oriented right now. I think he will be able to do that by first, second game. I think he'll be able, and maybe some during this fall camp. But with that said, he's not going to get here. He's not going to be able to practice until the season, until school starts, unless, we had some type of injury and then we could pull him off the waiver list or however you want to look at it.
Anybody else, Landon Jackson, Manny Powell, any of those guys going to miss?
No, those are really the only guys, you've hit it, that would be, well, Ja'Cory Turner would be in the green, but he can practice. The rest of them, well, I think we're in good shape.
With Dax Courtney medically retiring, that's unfortunate, obviously.
Yeah.
Does that put you guys down to 83? I think last time we talked to you, you were 84. Okay.
Mhm.
Any plans with those scholarships?
I don't know, if you had a guy that was exceptional, that transferred after the portal transfer deadline, in other words, he could transfer, he could be on scholarship, but he couldn't play this year. If we found somebody like that that could go through practice and then, and all those things and be up in the spring, we might do that. But that would be really the only answer to your question right now.
Pretty optimistic about the D line at media days. I guess just having seen those guys this summer, what maybe shaped your outlook and maybe what excites you or concerns you about the group?
Well, I really don't have any concern. Well, yeah, I do. I mean, we've got to find a pass rusher out of that group, and pass rushers don't have to be edge guys. They can be rush the passer from inside as well. Trust me, I've had to block a lot of them in this league, but we went out and we were fortunate enough to get Landon Jackson. Dorian Gerald coming back would give us would have somewhat of an answer there as well. I think the guys we have in Zach and Stu and some of those guys on the edge, Eric Thomas had a better one. Jordan Dominic is a guy that we specifically went out to help us at that position, but to go rush the quarterback. So he wasn't here, so that one, Jackson wasn't healthy. He is now. Dorian Gerald wasn't healthy. He is now. So we'll see if some of those guys can help us rush the passer. I feel like we can. On the inside, I've been really pleased with Terry Hampton. I think he's got good explosion. He's not very tall. He's got built-in leverage, and certainly Taylor Lewis had a good summer too. But losing Torian for a while definitely hurt us. Isaiah Nichols took over the leadership role in that room. I think Deke Adams done a really good job of going out and recruiting. And so we'll see what we have. That's probably the most, even more so than wide receiver, in my opinion. That's probably the group where you go, okay, we need some things to happen. We think that we have the people for it to happen, but probably that's the biggest question mark possibly on the team. But I'm very confident about that group. I think we've done a nice job of developing the ones we have and throwing a few more out of the portal in there.
Sam, I think you said in Atlanta that Tykees Crawford had really, performed well and deserved a chance to go on the field. Well, where do you see him starting off in camp, and where would he be competing?
Tykees is going to start off at tackle. I think Cody and I had a long conversation about him, and Dalton is a guy that's we want him to stay healthy every game, but I don't know that he can play every single rep of every game. I don't know. He's got some issues, some physical issues, injury wise. And so we're going to solidify that right tackle spot first. We're also going to move him in at right guard. I just think the guy's a really good player, and I think he needs to help us. And so we're going to keep him on the right side right now, right tackle, right guard. So if he can't win one of those spots, if he doesn't, he's going to play a lot of ball for us. Either way, we talked about left tackle as well. But I think the best thing for him for playing time is to keep him on that right side and let him learn two positions.
before the portal came into being, it was almost unheard of for guys to transfer within the conference because, coaches would understandably block,
Yeah.
you don't want to play against. And now you look at SEC rosters and you lose guys to SEC teams, you get guys from SEC teams. It's all over the place. Just wonder what you think about that.
Well, it's hard to say anything negative about it whenever we're doing it too. You know what I mean? When we're going and getting players from LSU and Georgia and Alabama, what it is. I think originally in the portal, I thought it was for kids that were over recruited. In other words, they'd come to Arkansas. Mistakes, not the word, but we over recruited them. They can't play here, and allow them to be able to move without punishment to a MAC school or, to somewhere else. And I know MAC plays really good ball too. I don't mean that negative either. But really what it's come down to now is a lot of it is I'm not playing as much as I want to. I see somewhere else that I can go to and play right away. Some of it has to do with NIL money. It's managing your roster right now is the hardest thing to do. In my opinion, as a head coach in college football right now, it's hard. But I think if we're going to transfer within, I think you have to transfer within the conference if you're going to have the transfer rule, because most of the time the players that we're looking for are in this league. And so I guess I'm for the rule that we're not separate than anybody else, I guess.
Coach, I think Gregory worked exclusively at end in the spring, but with getting Gerald back after the spring, does that, he's 6'4", 305 or so. Does that give you the option to work him inside maybe some?
Yeah, Eric's got a lot of value for us because he certainly can play end when we're in our 3-down line. He certainly, when we're in a 4-down configuration, he certainly could play inside as well. So he's got a lot of value there, but it's just because he's worked so hard and he's strong and he can run. So I do think there'll be some definite experimentation with him inside and outside.
You mentioned in a recent interview, you named off, I think, 6 wide receivers that probably the top guys right now, but there's Landers was one of the guys you mentioned, who's a newer addition. I was wondering if you could tell us what you thought about him, and then also a couple other guys, freshmen, Isaiah Satega and Samuel Bakke.
Mm-hmm. And we got Quincy as well, but I know you didn't mention him because he was here in the spring. Isaiah has very good ball skills, can separate. He's exactly what we thought he would be. Bakke is a big, long, physical guy, can run. We like him as well. We think we hit on all 3 of those guys there. Who else did you ask about? I'm sorry.
Like what kind of
Matt is a guy, I knew from Georgia when I was there. Certainly looks different than what he did when he was a freshman. At Georgia, he's big, physical. He can run now. He can fly. And I think what he's done is he's made us better. He's made Warren Thompson better. He's made Ketron Jackson better. And that's just because of the heat that his presence puts on them. And so I think on the outside, we're going to be in pretty good shape. I really do. But I think he's going to help us, and I think he'll help us a lot.
With Isaiah Satania not going through spring practice with you, what have you seen from him since he showed up?
Well, he's really smart, so he learns fast. That's the one thing the NCAA has allowed us to do is have meetings, and so that's helped us. In the past, wasn't as much meeting time, and so now we're able to meet. So he's picking it up fast. He picks up the offense fast. The number one thing that keeps young kids off the field is they don't know the offense, they don't know the defense. So therefore they're thinking, and you're not seeing their full athletic ability. Again, he has great ball skills, and he can separate on a route. And I think those are things you saw in high school. and he's fast, those things you saw in high school. But I knew he was a smart guy. I knew he was a smart kid, but he really picked up the offense fast.
I mean, you're probably looking forward to seeing everybody, but because you didn't get to see him on the field in the spring, is there an extra level of
Yeah,
anticipation?
there's a list of guys, that you're going, they weren't here in the spring, and you're going, can they help us? Kudus on the O-line would be one of those guys. He's really talented. But yes, those are a few guys that you're going, you got to find out within the first couple of weeks whether they're going to be a part of helping us on a Saturday as far as on the field is concerned.
These first few practices when they don't have pads on, what exactly are you looking for? What are you able to learn when they don't have pads on?
I just want the way we practice. I want the expectations of practice. I want us to be sharp as a coaching staff. I want to be sharp at players. I don't want to have a lot of missed assignments. I want to bring in who we are and practice how we are and practice fast and physical and transition well and take care of the football. And of course, defense, try to get the football out and things of that nature. But I just want to be organized. We've been bragging all the time. We got all these coordinators back. And I want to see that. We want to, if we're going to beat people, we got to be ahead of them in practice as well.
Question about your speed and your strength, because you talk about how that's what you got to improve on. Did you see some numbers through the summer that you say, okay, we might be faster, we might be bigger and stronger?
Yeah, we are bigger. I mean, we're a big football team now. We look like an SEC football team, in my opinion. Now, speed wise, I think there's two parts of that. One is you recruit speed, and the other is you develop speed. So I think we've done a really good job, Coach Walker and his staff, of developing our guys, obviously to get bigger and stronger. But also we spend a lot of time on speed development training as well. So I think we're a bigger and a faster team. And then I think recruiting and the guys we brought in, we're starting to recruit bigger and stronger and faster guys when they walk in the door. And then you can develop them even further at that point. So, yeah, I like the way our team looks, and I like our team speed.
And did you have any offseason standout summer stars that, really jumped
Bo
up?
Lemmer, I mean, he's a freakish type guy. He's strong in the squat and the bench and all these things. He's kind of a freak of nature type guy. He stood out. That's the one that I would say right now that I can recall that I thought really was unbelievable. There's a lot of them, but he's one that I want to talk about.
This probably raised pretty long list of questions, but your kickoff guy, Calvin Russo went to Wisconsin, and I know Cam handled that in the bowl game, but I know you brought in some kickers also. Who right now are you looking at as far as the kickoff position?
Well, Bates is a guy that can kick. And, obviously he had full ride offer to, I don't know how many, but I know at least one other SEC football team. So it'll be between him and Bates, Cam Little and Bates. I think they're both kicking it, 6-7 deep right now on average. But Vito was valuable now. I mean, that's a valuable deal when, Scott and I sitting there and we're ahead, and I don't know, I think it was Mississippi State game even. And I go, we'd sit there talking about what we want to do. And Scott said, well, let's just kick it out. And I said, well, you damn sure better kick it out. I mean, if we're going to do that, we'll get booed out of the stadium in here. And he booted that thing out of there, but a lot of value there when you don't necessarily have to defend a kickoff return from somebody else's team. So we feel like we have them. Obviously, I think Scott would like for Bates to be that guy, so Cam could just kind of really concentrate on field goals. But whomever wins this spot is going to be the one that kicks the furthest and the highest and the most consistency.
Reed Bauer.
Yeah, as we go today, Max is right there close to him, but Reed would be the starter if we went out and played Cincinnati today.
And then Stein, is he or Castro? Who's the long snapper?
Stein's probably leading that race right now.
I was wondering if you had any surprises for us, maybe stuff we wouldn't have, like last year, you moved a bunch of guys to tight end to try them out there.
We don't need to
anything
move.
on
We
the
got more
plan?
tight ends than anything. We don't need him. I mean, we got plenty. We need them in recruiting, but any moves that we're making that you might not know about? I don't think so. I don't think we've really, I don't think so. You know, y'all asked me about Malik, and I don't think so. I think right now we're pretty open, honest book right now. You're going to be at practice, so you'll figure it out anyhow.
Everybody wants to have a beer with you, and
Okay.
people talking about adopting Arkansas as their other team and all that stuff. I was wondering, do you feel like that maybe because people don't view you as threatening, and how do you change that? How do you get more people to dislike you?
Well, I think, you know, I'm not, it's not me versus Jimbo or me versus Nick Saban. It's our team versus their team. And that's how I always kind of looked at it. I like the guys. I like the head coaches in the SEC but I want to mind my own business. You know, I ain't worried about somebody else's business. I'm just worried about mine and our team and what we do. And I think you can cause some friction and some problems whenever you worry about somebody else's team. If I want to worry about their team, I'd go interview for the job, you know. And they got nothing to do with me. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But I think, you know, I rant, but I don't know. I just answer your questions, and I am who I am. So some people like it, some people don't, but I don't know how to answer the question really.
It was a difficult one. Cam Ball is a guy that you guys talked about a lot last year. You're able to redshirt him, but with Carter having the injury, how big is it for him to have had a good offseason, and
Big.
where do you see him right now?
Well, he's got to step up. I mean, right now he'll be one on the depth chart, and he's got to step up and be that guy. You know, obviously we went out and got Paris and I mean, it's Taylor Lewis and Terry Hampton. And so Marcus Miller's got to come on. It's his year. His knee's healthy now, but Cam's got to step up. He worked his butt off down there on the scout team last year and got knocked around a few. But it's his year. He's got the physical tools. He's got the size. He got the strength. I think he'll be a fine player for us, but he needs to. We need him to.
Just to clarify, when you guys come out in 3-2-6,
He'll be starting for us in our 4 down. He wouldn't be that starter right now in the 3 down look.
Being a faster team earlier, who are some of the guys that y'all are eyeing maybe as return men, either punt or kickoff?
Well, that was a nice topic of conversation between us all too. But I think Bryce Stevens is a guy that we believe in that could be a nice punt returner. Jaden Hazelwood's done a nice job back there, as well as Slusher. Kickoff return. I like Day. I like Ladarius Bishop back there. Slusher's another guy that I think would be good. They threw Rocket's name out, and I threw it out. They threw it out to me, and I threw it out. But he ain't doing that. AJ Green's another guy that I think now with a year under his belt that we just got to have a guy hit it. And so those are a few names that I think will be in that battle. Satania is obviously one of those guys in punt and kickoff return that we're certainly going to look at as well.
Coach Nate wanted to ask a question, Nate Allen.
Mhm.
He wanted to ask how much did it benefit KJ to sit behind Felipe and learn from him in 21 and then Malik last year? How much benefit is it for those guys?
I think Malik's night and day better for quarterback than what he was last year. I do. And I think it benefited him big time. And I think that says a lot about Malik. It also says a lot about KJ. You know, when Malik went in the transfer portal over the bowl, whatever, KJ was the biggest one trying to get him back. And then you go back to Felipe and KJ's relationship, and it was unbelievable. And they're close now. And but he helped. I mean, Felipe helped KJ, but it takes two people, to understand where you're at on a depth chart and understand that there's still competition, but understand what it's like today. And today I'm 2 and you're 1. So let me learn from you, if that makes sense.
Did you see a much better example though of a backup staying ready than KJ did to come in from Felipe in that last game against Missouri? Well, I guess the next last game of the season against Missouri, but just come in and put 50 points. The most points you scored all season. He did it that day.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. I mean, he stood in the pocket. He made great decisions. I mean, that was week 9 and on the road. And for him to be poised like that and what he did certainly was incredible. We didn't win the game, but it certainly didn't have anything to do with his performance. I mean, his was outstanding.
KJ's kind of been flying under the radar as far as, the league's QBs, and there's been some talk about him being underrated. Do you guys try to insulate him? That's true.
I mean, that's just what it is.
Do you guys try to insulate KJ from those kinds of expectations, or how does he kind of respond to that?
No, I mean, it's just everybody has their own way of getting motivated, and I think he uses that kind of stuff a little bit. You have to ask him, but I would assume he uses that in some of his motivation and his preparation. We don't always need somebody to talk bad about us to motivate us, but a lot of times when that happens, there is some type of, well, I'll show you type thing. And I think that's KJ's got a little bit of that in him, along with he just, he wants to be good no matter what people say. I guess I'd look on it the other way. If they talked about how great he was all the time, I don't think he'd be less of a player, I guess, you know what I mean? But we kind of thrive on that kind of stuff. That's kind of who we are. We like it that way.
Sam, I don't know how many camps this will be for you, probably about 40, I guess. Going into your 3rd year as an SEC head coach.
Bob.
I've been doing this that long too. I mean, how excited are you? And did you have a good summer? Do you feel refreshed? Kind of what's your attitude going into
Well, I'm really excited. I was walking in here a while ago. I was going, this is year 3 and I'm still here, and I'm like, thank you. No, I think this is 37 maybe or something like that for me. But this summer I went down to the lake and went to Florida for a few days. And other than that, I was either here or down in Hot Springs and had a great time. The summer program went well, and Hot Springs is close enough where I can go down there a couple of days and come back and see the players and things of that nature. And I really enjoyed it, and I love it down there. I love Fayetteville too, but I really enjoy Hot Springs, and Jamie and I had a really good summer, and just like the kids did, I hope. And they've been off for a week now. I think you do have to let the players exhale a little bit before camp starts, and I think they'll be ready to go as well.
Kind of scary. I had a similar thought to Bob, but kind of along those same lines, if you go back a couple of years ago, are there things that you've learned as a head coach that makes you approach this preseason differently than you would have 2 years ago or a year ago?
I learned a lot, and I learned a lot. I mean, I make so many mistakes, and I don't mean to. And it's not that I haven't thought about it and things of that nature, but I think people's going to make mistakes just if they learn from them, so I've made a lot of mistakes and have to get better at a lot of things. But I will say this, that I try in practice to do everything we can in practice to where when it's in the game, we're taking our players from, I hope this works, to, hey, we practiced it enough, I know it's going to work. And so everything that you do in practice, that's you think about Saturday and you go, okay, when we're in this situation, are the kids going to hope that we can do it, or are they going to know we can do it because we've got a great plan, we've executed it, and we've done it at practice? I remember when I was offensive line coach and I'm not prepared for something. Shame on me, by the way. And I'm going into the game, man, if they move a lot, I hope they don't move a lot today. I hope they don't twist game us a tremendous amount. Where then you take your game and your coaching into, you know what, if they do, we got this, and this, and we can crush them with it. If they do this, we're ready for it. We've practiced it. Those are probably the biggest things in coaching that I'm continuing to try to do. Like I thought we were really good in 2-minute last year. And it was because, in my opinion, we did it so much. Even some of the guys on staff thought it was too much. But I didn't not only want them to be prepared for that situation, I wanted to be prepared for that situation, because at that point in time, it's that last minute and a half that's going to decide the outcome of the ball game. So I'm trying to get better at that. And so everything on our piece of paper and on our board and stuff is take the, I hope to, I know. And if we can do that at practice, then we've probably done a pretty good job as a coach and staff. But there's a lot of things. Everything keeps hitting, you know, NIL and portal and all. There's something new all the time. And you make mistakes, and then hopefully you learn from them.
When you became a head coach, was there a former boss that you had that you tried to simulate what you had done at that practice? And if so, who?
Kirby. I mean, we took a lot of things, what Georgia does, a lot. And I'm sure Kirby took a lot of what Coach Saban did. You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm pretty sure. And so we took the template per se of that. And then we, you know, we modified what we wanted to modify. But certainly we took from when we left Georgia, the template, I guess, of what we felt like was successful. And it was at Georgia, it was at Alabama, it was at Michigan State, it was at South Carolina. I don't know what Shane's doing over there, but I'm assuming he's got some of Kirby's stuff in his scheduling.
Max Fletcher, it looks like he's got all the punts. What do you think about maybe his prospects?
Say again.
Max Fletcher's prospects in the coming years, all the versatility he might be able to provide.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he's got a strong leg. Right now, we're trying to get him to punt it to a spot, you know, a little bit more consistently, but he can kick it, you know, 20 miles high. I mean, he got a strong leg. Right now, the biggest concern we have on him is out kicking our coverage. I mean, so we got to figure that out. We got to either get faster on our coverage team or cut him back a little bit.
You know, his brother kicks for Cincinnati.
Yeah,
So game one,
really good, by the way.
the whole deal. What do you think about that?
I think they got a hell of a long travel, is what I think. Isn't that like a 2-day deal or something? I don't know what that is, but, you know, I'll be honest with you, I've never met them, Zoomed and things of that nature. It'd be great to see them, and we'll see what Max does on that day. But I know his brother's good now and confident, and we feel the same way about Max too. He just hadn't been here as long as his brother been over Cincinnati.
You mentioned Ja'Cory. What did he do something in the summer? What's his issue?
He hurt his shoulder, but he'll be out there. So you guys will see. He'll be out there in the green, but he'll be going. He's fine. But we're going to play a little caution with him for a couple of weeks. How you doing, man? Y'all doing good?